Life can feel like drifting through a quiet fog, moving, breathing, doing, yet sensing an emptiness just beneath the surface. Each day unfolds the same way. Wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat. Around you, the world seems alive with people who appear happy, successful, fulfilled, while a small voice inside wonders, what am I missing? That gentle ache, that longing for something more, is a path many hearts walk. And today, I want to share a story. Not one filled with miracles or magic, but something far simpler, and perhaps more familiar. It's the story of a man named Kaito, a story that may quietly echo a part of your own. Kaito was a carpenter in a small, bustling town. He was good at what he did. His hands were calloused but skilled, able to turn rough wood into smooth, sturdy furniture. People respected him for his craft. He had a family, a home, a life that from the outside looked complete. Yet, every morning, as the sun's first rays touched the wood shavings on his workshop floor, Kaito felt a profound emptiness. He felt like a hollow vessel, beautifully crafted but empty inside. He saw the monks from the local monastery walking through the town for their alms, their faces serene, and he envied their peace. He thought, their life has purpose. They are dedicated to something profound, something divine. My life is just wood and nails. Driven by this deep longing, Kaito decided he would seek enlightenment. He wanted to feel the peace the monks seemed to carry so effortlessly. He closed his workshop, said a temporary farewell to his family, and made the journey up the mountain to the ancient monastery. He was welcomed by the head monk, a wise old man with eyes that seemed to hold the stillness of a deep forest lake. Kaito bowed low and said, "Master, I wish to learn the path to enlightenment. I want to find the peace that eludes me in my ordinary life. Please teach me the profound truths of the Dharma." The master listened patiently, a gentle smile playing on his lips. He looked at Kaito's strong, work-worn hands. "Very well," the master said. "Your training begins tomorrow. Be ready at sunrise." Kaito's heart soared. He imagined long hours of meditation, studying ancient scriptures and deep philosophical debates. He was ready for the challenge. The next morning, Kaito was woken before dawn by the sound of a bell. He rushed to the main hall, expecting his first lesson. The master was there, holding a broom. "Good morning, Kaito," he said. "Your first task is to sweep the courtyard. Sweep it until not a single fallen leaf remains." Kaito was taken aback. Sweeping. He had come to unravel the mysteries of the universe, not to be a janitor. But he was a guest, so he took the broom and began to sweep. The courtyard was vast, and the autumn trees generously shed their leaves. It took him the entire morning. When he finished, proud of the perfectly clean courtyard, he went to find the master for his real lesson. The master was in the kitchen. "Ah, Kaito," he said, "the courtyard looks wonderful. Now please help the kitchen monks chop the vegetables for the midday meal." Chopping vegetables. Kaito was a master carpenter, not a kitchen hand. A flicker of frustration sparked within him, but he suppressed it and did as he was told. He chopped carrots, radishes, and greens, his mind wandering back to the profound teachings he was missing out on. This became Kaito's routine. Day after day, he would sweep the courtyard, chop vegetables, wash the monastery's bowls, and mend broken fences. Weeks turned into months. He never once sat for a formal meditation session or opened a single sacred text. His frustration grew into a quiet despair. He felt his time was being wasted. One evening, unable to bear it any longer, he sought out the master. He found him sitting by a small pond, watching the moon's reflection on the water. "Master," Kaito began, his voice trembling with disappointment, "I came here to find enlightenment. I left my life, my work, my family to learn the deep teachings. But all I have done is sweep floors and chop vegetables. This is ordinary work, the same kind of work I did back home. Have you been toying with me? When will my real training begin?" The master turned his calm gaze from the pond to Kaito. "Kaito," he said softly, "tell me, when you sweep the leaves, where is your mind?" Kaito thought for a moment. "Well," he admitted, "I'm thinking about when I will be finished so I can begin my real studies. I am frustrated that I am sweeping instead of meditating." The master nodded. "And when you chop the vegetables, where is your mind then?" Kaito sighed. "I am thinking about the profound scriptures I'm not reading. I'm envious of the other monks who get to chant and study." The master smiled gently. "Kaito, you left your workshop because you felt your life was ordinary. You believed that enlightenment was something out there, a special knowledge hidden in a monastery, found only through special activities. But you brought your ordinary mind with you. When you were a carpenter, you longed to be a monk. Now that you are here, doing the work of the monastery, you are longing for something else. Your mind is always somewhere else, never where you are." He paused, letting the words sink in. The path to awakening is not about changing what you do. It's about changing how you do it. When you sweep, just sweep. Feel the bristles of the broom against the stone. Hear the rustle of the leaves. Pay attention to the motion of your arms. Be fully present with the act of sweeping. When you chop, just chop. Notice the crisp sound of the knife, the vibrant color of the vegetables, the texture in your hand. Be fully present with the act of chopping. Don't search for profundity in a future moment. The profound is here, now, in this very act. The master's words struck Kaito like a thunderclap. In that instant, everything shifted. He realized he had been searching for a destination, but the journey itself was the teaching. He had been looking for a special key, but the door was already unlocked. The problem wasn't his life, it was his relationship to it. He had been living his entire life in his head, lost in thoughts of past regrets and future hopes, completely missing the richness of the present moment. Kaito bowed deeply to the master, tears of gratitude streaming down his face. He didn't say a word. The next morning, he picked up the broom. But this time, it was different. He wasn't just a carpenter sweeping leaves. He was the universe expressing itself as the act of sweeping. He felt the cool morning air on his skin. He heard the symphony of the waking birds. Each sweep was a meditation. Each leaf was a universe unto itself. The frustration was gone, replaced by a quiet, vibrant joy. When he chopped vegetables, he was no longer a failed scholar. He was simply a man chopping vegetables, fully engaged, fully alive. The act was no longer a chore, it was a sacred dance. After a few more weeks, Kaito knew it was time to go home. He went to the master to say goodbye. "Master," he said, "I came seeking enlightenment. I thought it was a treasure hidden on this mountain. But you have shown me that the treasure is one I have carried with me all along, buried under my own restlessness. Thank you." The master simply smiled and said, "Now, you are ready to be a carpenter." Kaito returned to his town. He reopened his workshop. He picked up his hammer and chisel, but he was not the same man. When he worked the wood, he was fully there. He felt the grain, he smelled the cedar, he listened to the song of the saw. His work, once a source of mundane emptiness, became his meditation, his practice, his path. His family noticed the change. He was more present, more joyful. The quiet desperation in his eyes had been replaced by a gentle, steady light. He didn't talk about enlightenment or use fancy spiritual words. He simply lived it. In the sawing of wood, in the sharing of a meal with his family, in the quiet moment of watching the sunset. This story of Kaito isn't just a story, it's a mirror. How many of us are like Kaito, believing that peace and happiness are somewhere else? In a different job, a different city, a different relationship, or a future time when all our problems are solved. We look for grand, extraordinary experiences to save us from our ordinary lives. But the Dharma, the truth that Kaito discovered, teaches us something revolutionary. The extraordinary is hidden within the ordinary. Awakening is not about escaping our lives, it's about waking up to our lives. It's in the feeling of warm water as you wash the dishes. It's in the taste of your morning coffee. It's in the sound of the rain against your window. It's in the simple act of breathing. These are not obstacles to our spiritual life, they are our spiritual life. The challenge is to be present for it. To drop the constant mental chatter about what's wrong, what's missing, what should be, and to simply be with what is. This is the practice of mindfulness. It's not complicated, but it's not easy. It requires us to gently and repeatedly bring our attention back to the here and now. So the next time you feel that familiar ache of dissatisfaction, the next time you find yourself thinking, "My life is so boring and ordinary," remember Kaito. Remember his broom. And ask yourself, where is my mind right now? Am I here in this moment? Can I feel my feet on the ground? Can I take one conscious breath? In that single mindful breath, you might just find the peace you've been searching for. You might just discover that your ordinary life is and always has been absolutely, miraculously enough. Thank you for sharing this time with me. If this story resonated with you, I invite you to explore this practice of mindfulness in your own life. You don't need a monastery, your kitchen, your office, your garden. That is your sacred space. Start small. Just be present and see what unfolds. Please consider subscribing for more stories and reflections on finding the sacred in our everyday lives. Be well and be present.